Well, the trailer for the highly anticipated Netflix documentary featuring Prince Harry and Meghan has been released. For more now on the reaction to this trailer and other royal news, we're joined by CTV's royal commentator, Richard Berthelsen. Richard, good to be chatting with you this afternoon. I mean, a lot of people turn to Netflix and watch The Crown, which of course is part fact and part fiction. Now we're going to get the perspective from Harry and Meghan of the true modern day situation, at least from their side of the royals. What has the reaction been, first of all, from Buckingham Palace or Kensington Palace? What are we hearing out of the UK today?
Well, we won't be getting any reaction from the palaces, I don't think, until we've seen the documentary. And I would be surprised if we would even at that time, because they don't obviously react to The Crown or anything else. It's going to be interesting to see how this documentary unfolds, how much of the past it deals with, how much of the current, how much of the future, how much of their work in the new space that they're occupying, and how much they're going to, try and tell the story or go back to the story or even settle some scores, because we really haven't heard a lot from them since the Oprah interview. And I think that interview has been really dissected and taken apart many different ways. And there's a lot of people who think there may be other perspectives or other questions Oprah may have asked or should have asked at that time. Of course, this is going to be entirely in their voice with photographs and a narrative that they've established. So it's really going to be their perspective without any filter. And
even, I realize we're not going to necessarily hear from the palace. Sometimes they sort of put their, surrogates out to sort of say a thing or two. But what's interesting about this sort of 50-second trailer that we've seen from Netflix, it's very dark, dramatic music, right? It's not la 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 la, right? It's very dark and dramatic, which sort of sets a tone. So it kind of sets your expectations that this isn't necessarily, going to be the most positive story when it comes to, remaining senior royals potentially.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to set a sense of drama so that people are going to tune in, and they're trying to give a real glossy finish, so it's something you want to spend your free time watching, as opposed to just another documentary. So I think there's a real intent here. I think what's particularly interesting for a lot of people is that they chose to release this during this 3-day visit by the Prince and Princess of Wales to Boston, which is a really important visit to establish, William's Earthshot Prize in the United States and to deal with all of the environmental issues. So it tends to really push that story a little bit. It shares some space with it, and I think the timing is interesting.
And that's what I was about to get to next, is exactly this timing, right? Because, I mean, this is a big trip. This is the Prince and Princess of Wales' first trip, to the States, or really overseas, since the death of Her Majesty the Queen back in September here. So let's talk about the significance of this trip. We know the timing now sort of coinciding with this release, but what about this Earthshot? I mean, Prince William is very passionate about this.
Yeah, it's his principal charitable initiative, I would say. And he's obviously trying to make an alignment between what John F. Kennedy said around a moonshot in the 1960s. That's the whole point of this Earthshot concept. So where better to do it in its second year than in Boston, where the Kennedy legacy is very strong, and you have a member of the Kennedy family that's going to be involved in it, as well as other people in the United States who are very involved in the environmental movement. So, there's a lot of history with the UK in Boston, not all of it positive. Large Irish community there, but there seems to be a lot of interest in this, and it's really an attempt to grab the attention of the US media, and by that extension to the global media, to give the Earthshot Prize more breadth and more scope, more people applying for it, more people energized by what it's trying to achieve, in addition to a few other regular things you would see on a royal visit. But always in the background, too, with visits to the United States, are the relationships between the United Kingdom and the United States, which the Prince and Princess of Wales, have an obligation to further in their work.
There's certainly a lot of history there. And of course, we understand there may be a meeting between the royal couple and U.S. President Biden. We'll see about that. In the meantime, let's talk about William's godmother, Lady Hussey, in some pretty serious hot water over, ongoing, unacceptable questions towards, a member of someone who ran a charity about her heritage. And this has caused her to sort of take leave, and it's caused the royal family some more embarrassment.
Yeah, I mean, she's been amputated, let's be honest. Yeah. I mean, this is a really serious issue, and it was a complete amputation of her from the royal household, which is, a huge thing. But the palace has moved very quickly to distance themselves from what she said, to say they're unacceptable, and to say that obviously she won't be in a position to represent the household any further. I mean, obviously the comments completely inexplicable. I think for most people, it's hard to imagine why she persisted in this line of questioning. Her role at that event was to make all the guests, including the director of this charity and her colleagues, welcome. And it was an extremely sensitive event because it was around violence against women. It was the first time something like this had been done at Buckingham Palace. It was a highly successful event, allowing all these groups to be recognized and network amongst themselves and put the, given the support of the new Queen Consort. So there was a lot at stake. For this to have taken place, totally unacceptable, totally inexplicable. Yeah. And, the palace has moved quickly to distance itself, as I say, and has done as much as they can do. It will be interesting to see if there's additional damage control in the weeks ahead in terms of engaging with this charity further or with the director herself. And we'll see what comes to pass. I think the palace at the moment is most concerned that the trip to Boston can take place with this issue being dealt with as much as they could at the time.
Yeah, really a perplexing situation there indeed. Okay, that is CTV's royal commentator Richard Berthelsen. Appreciate the commentary this afternoon, Richard. Thank you.